Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom. I'm David Mencer, Israeli government spokesman. It's Monday, the 17th of June, day 255 of the October 7th war, when the Hamas army of terror invaded our country and carried out their atrocities. First, an update on IDF casualties. Since the outset of this war, the IDF fatalities have unfortunately risen to 662. After a very painful weekend here in Israel, I have the heartbreaking task to tell you about the passing of Captain Wasim Mahmoud, who was 23 years old, from the Druze community of Bet Jan in northern Israel. Captain Mahmoud fell in battle in southern Gaza. Sergeant Yair Reutemann was 19 from Karnei Shomron. He was seriously wounded in battle in southern Gaza last week and succumbed to his wounds on Saturday. Captain in the reserves Eitan Koplovich was aged 28 from Hoshea and was killed in battle in northern Gaza. Senior Staff Sergeant Major in the reserves Elon Weiss was 49 from Psagot. He fell in battle in northern Gaza. Sergeant Eliyahu Moshe Zimbalist was 21 years old from Bet Shemesh. He fell in battle in southern Gaza. Sergeant Itai Amar was just 19 years old from Kochav Yair. He too fell in battle in southern Gaza. Staff Sergeant Stanislav Kostarev was 21 years old and from Ashdod. He was killed in battle in southern Gaza. Staff Sergeant Or Blumovitz was 20 years old from Pardes Chana. He was killed in battle in southern Gaza. Staff Sergeant Oz Yeshaya Gruber was 20 from Tel Menashe, and he was killed in battle in southern Gaza. Sergeant Yakir Yaakov Levy was 21 and from Chofetz Chaim. He too was killed in battle in southern Gaza. Sergeant Shalom Menachem was 21 and from Betel. He fell in battle in southern Gaza. Staff Sergeant Tzur Avraham was 22 years old and from Mekabim Reut, and he was killed in battle in southern Gaza just yesterday. Almost all of these young men had their funerals yesterday. All of them died fighting terror in Gaza. They were buried, almost all of them yesterday, surrounded by their loved ones. On the announcement of these fallen soldiers, the Prime Minister made a statement, and I will not read out the whole statement. It's on the Prime Minister's office website where you can find it, but I just wanted to share with you a selection of what he said. Quote, "We paid a heart-rending price in our just war of defense of our homeland. With deep sorrow and heavy in mourning, I bow my head together with all the citizens of Israel and weep over the fall of our heroic fighters. Our hearts are shattered before this terrible loss. The entire people of Israel embraces the dear families in their most difficult hour of grief. I stand by our brave fighters and commanders who are imbued with the sacred mission to defeat our enemies and return our hostages. When the price is so heavy, let us remember what we are fighting for. We are fighting to ensure our existence and our future. We are fighting to return all of our hostages. Citizens of Israel, do not let anyone distract you from one clear and simple fact. Despite the heavy and unsettling price, we must cling to the goals of the war: the destruction of Hamas's military and governing capabilities, the return of all of our hostages, making certain that Gaza will never again constitute a threat to Israel, and the return of our residents securely to their homes in both the north and the south. Together we will fight, and with God's help, together we will win." End quote. We bow our heads in tribute to their sacrifice and for their bravery in protecting our homeland. May their memories be a blessing forever. Moving to northern Israel, we are defending against Hezbollah aggression. Since deciding to join the war that Hamas started on October 7th, Hezbollah has fired over 5,000 rockets, anti-tank missiles and explosive UAVs from Lebanon at Israeli families, homes and communities. I remind you that there is no territorial dispute between Lebanon and Israel. Israel's border is precisely where the UN asked it to be. There is no territorial dispute with Lebanon. We will use all means necessary to restore security on our northern border. The state of Lebanon and the Hezbollah terror organization, which is operating under the guidance of Iran, bears full responsibility for the deterioration of the security situation in the north, in violation of UN Security Council resolutions 1559 and 1701. Whether diplomatically or militarily, one way or another, we will ensure the safe and secure return of Israelis to their homes in northern Israel. That is not up for negotiation. October the 7th cannot happen again on any one of Israel's borders. I can confirm that President Biden's envoy, Amos Hochstein, will today have met with our Prime Minister. IDF confirms that from the beginning of this war until now, 60,000 dunams of land have been burned up north, 45,000 in the last 2 weeks alone. On the war cabinet being replaced by the security cabinet, the Prime Minister said, quote, "The war cabinet was in the coalition agreement with National Unity MK Benny Gantz at his requests. With Mr. Gantz leaving the government, there is no more need for this extra branch of government. The security cabinet is granted authority by the state to make decisions together with the full cabinet." Now, especially but not exclusively for US correspondents, I want to draw your attention to the screening in the White House of the film Screams Before Silence, hosted by Vice President Kamala Harris today, Monday. The film is fronted by former senior Facebook executive Sheryl Sandberg. As the film shows, which is backed up by the Association for Rape Crisis Centers in Israel, Israeli civilians suffered brutal sexual assaults that were carried out systematically and deliberately during the Hamas October 7th attacks. I urge you to watch the film. Amit Susanna, a hostage who has suffered this abuse but rarely lived to tell the tale, will address the event. Do not look away. I've seen this film. It has stayed with me like nothing else. See what Hamas did systematically and deliberately, and then understand why this terror army cannot be left in control of Gaza. Now an update from COGAT and their work coordinating aid into Gaza. The usual daily reminder that the contents of over 1,000 aid trucks currently awaits being picked up on the Gazan side of the Kerem Shalom crossing. So since the beginning of this war, more than 35,000 trucks have delivered 670,000 tons of aid have entered Gaza, more than enough food to feed everyone in Gaza. More food and aid enters Gaza every day, 80% more food than compared to what was entering Gaza prior to October 7th. So that's the end of our briefing today. I will now take your questions, which you should put in the chat together with your news outlet. Thank you. First question, please.
Jack Moore, AFP News Agency. It has been reported widely today that the war cabinet has been dissolved. Is this a move by the Prime Minister to rebuff far-right members of his coalition and to tighten his grip on decision-making over Hamas and Hezbollah?
Thank you for that question, Jack. As I've made clear in this briefing, the War Cabinet was a prerequisite of creating this national unity government. It was a prerequisite put in by member of Knesset Benny Gantz. With Mr. Gantz leaving the government, there is no longer a need for the War Cabinet, and its duties will be taken over as mandated by the State of Israel by the Security Cabinet, together with the full Cabinet. I've made that clear in my briefing. You can play the tape again, or I've just given you the answer. Next question, please.
David Clement, the News Forum. A UN spokesperson is saying that no aid has been dispatched via Kerem Shalom despite the tactical pause announcement. Is that accurate?
Thank you very much for that question, David. You should refer that question to COGAT, but I can tell you, and I've just have told you, about the 670,000 tons of aid and more than 35,000 trucks which are going in all the time. On average, daily, there are more than 100, sometimes 150, sometimes 200, even up to 400 trucks going in. They're going in mostly through Kerem Shalom. Unfortunately, the UN and specifically UNRWA have been shown to be less than truthful in their conduct of their of themselves. They have shown themselves to be terribly inefficient, hopelessly inefficient, so much so that, as I've said to you, that there are more than 1,000 truckloads of aid sitting on the Gazan side, of the Kerem Shalom crossing. So that does not ring true at all. I've told you before in these briefings that more than 80% of coordination requests to deliver aid are granted by the IDF. It is our objective to get as much aid to ordinary Gazans as we possibly can, and that is precisely what we are doing. The UN have unfortunately not shown themselves to have acted I think truthfully in this conflict. In many, many ways, UNRWA in particular has been shown to have been working hand in hand with Gaza, sometimes as a front for Gaza, hiding Gaza, for Hamas, UNRWA have been shown to be acting as a front for Hamas. And so therefore, anything they say should be really verified, and COGAT is the right address for any of those sorts of questions. Thank you. Next question, please.
Joel Pollack, Berbat News. 1. What actually are U.S. Envoy Amos Hochstein's proposals to avoid war with Hezbollah? What are Israel's demands? 2. Could you comment?
Let me take that first question first. Thank you very much for that question, Joel. I think any questions regarding Amos Hochstein, the proposals, should be put to the White House. Amos Hochstein is, of course, President Biden's and the White House's envoy. Look, we want this to be resolved either diplomatically or militarily. The current state of affairs is not a sustainable reality. 5,000 rockets raining down on our north, making the north uninhabitable. This is not a sustainable reality. Either way, as we've made clear in this briefing, the people of Israel's north will be allowed to return home. This is Israeli sovereign territory, and this country will be defended. And either way, these residents will be allowed to return home. Safety and security will be restored to the people of the north and the north of this country. Next question, please.
2. Could you comment on a recent report by the UNIPC Famine Review Committee that it cannot confirm any famine in northern Gaza?
Thank you for that question, Joel. In the last couple of weeks, we have made clear, using international experts, that the whole maligning of Israel with this famine narrative has been shown to be absolutely false, incorrect, not true. There is no famine in Gaza. The amount of food that has gone into Gaza proves that fact. It is true that Hamas do loot the trucks and do sell the aid onto the black market for vastly increased prices. But what we've done to subvert that is to flood the region, flood Gaza with aid, which is precisely what we've done. We have produced a comprehensive debunking of the IPC in the past and their rhetoric of famine. If they are now saying that there won't be a famine, then it's good that they have finally seen the light. But like so many other areas of this war, it is too late. They have maligned this country with this idea of famine when nothing could be further from the truth. One would have difficulty imagining in the Second World War Allied forces getting aid into Germany and trying to support the Nazi war machine. We have here in Israel got aid into Gaza because our fight is, of course, not with ordinary Gazans, although they do, sadly, it seems from latest polls, 70 or 80% of them think that what Hamas is doing, or what the Hamas did on October 7th, is a good idea. Nevertheless, our mission is to get as much aid in there as possible and ultimately to destroy Hamas, because there cannot be a new reality inside Gaza, even for ordinary Gazans, until Hamas is destroyed, because Hamas control almost everything which comes out of Gaza, and any dissent is met very harshly and deadly, with a deadly response, which is why Gazans themselves cannot be free to express their opinion until Hamas are finally destroyed. Next question, please.
Judy Cohen, WION, India. Israel has announced daily 11-hour daytime pauses in the fighting in a large area of Gaza in order to help aid distribution. Has there been any indication from Hamas that they will also abide by the pause in fighting in those areas?
Thank you for that question, Jody. I have not seen any indication that Hamas will do anything to support their people. They, of course, created this underground terror network of tunnels twice the size of the London Underground, not for the defence of their people. The recent anniversary of D-Day reminded us all of the way London dealt with the Blitz in the Second World War. So many Londoners went down into the London Underground to keep themselves safe from the German Nazi bombs. None of Gaza's civilians have been allowed that luxury. They've been kept above ground. Nothing has been done to secure them. Nothing. Indeed, the opposite. Hamas wants as many of their civilians to die as possible, because with the help of international media, they are pushing this line of the killing of Gazan civilians. But enlightened people, I hope, will see through this ruse. Hamas wants as many ordinary Gazans to die because they think it will improve their chances of staying in power. But we know that the only resolution for this war is the destruction of Hamas. Hamas can no longer be allowed to stay in charge of Gaza, precisely for the reason of the terrible things which they're doing to their own people, but also because they say quite openly that they wish to do October the 7th again and again and again and again. And we are here to stop them. Thank you. Next question, please.
Jim Williams, Zenger International News Service, Washington, D.C. At the G7 meeting in Italy, both President Biden and Jack Sullivan said that if asked, sitcom is ready to help Israel should it be needed to fight the Iranian proxies in the north. Has the PM or IDF requested any backup in the north?
Thank you for that question, Jim. You're right, of course, that Iran are our enemy. They are a Islamic fascist regime, and they want the destruction of every single person in Israel. They've made that quite clear. But they're not only the enemy of Israel, they're also the enemy of the US as well. They call the US the big Satan, they call us the little Satan. So we are always working with our closest friends in the world, the US government and CEDCOM, to ensure that Israel has the edge when it comes to defending itself against Iran. You'll remember that in April, Israel worked together with its allies in the US, but also the UK, but also with France and other countries, some of them which would prefer not to be mentioned, in defeating Iran. The reason that these countries came together to repel these 350 ballistic missiles, drones, cruise missiles, suicide drones, the reason that they came together is because they realized that Iran is not only the enemy of Israel, but it's also the enemy of many other countries as well, including the US. So we will always work together with our US allies. Okay, that was the last question. Please join us tomorrow for another briefing at the same time, at the same place. Thank you very much, and please do stay safe.